hit the mic, talking day and spilling life, from trending memes to wildest dreams. Girl, did you hear that crazy thing? Girl, did you hear what's going down? We're lighting up this whole damn town. Strange and trending every week. Bestie vibes that'll never peak.
Which is great. Like, I love that we have the ability to do that. But with young kids and, you know, their minds being shaped by what's being consumed into them, how do we think that that's going to affect them like later on in life in comparison to like our generation where, you know, we didn't have screen time at younger ages, but we had it when we were older?
I don't know. I don't think that, I mean,
do you think this, yeah, and just, you know, not doing anything that's activating their brain?
Right.
Like, that's a problem. That is the problem.
Or
to me.
are they on YouTube learning how to make slime?
Right.
You know, it's
A
like
tool.
Wikipedia right now. You can't really trust it.
It's a tool and it's still learning, guys. So like everything that you ask it and whatever answer it tells you, it might not be 100% true.
Did you hear that when people are nice to AI, it is costing the AI creators more money because of the response that it has to give back to you?
What is your thoughts on ChatGPT in school? Like, do you think it's okay for students to use it?
I do. I think it's a tool that should be used by everyone because it's available.
Right. To me, though, if people are constantly using ChatGPT for that, then they're not using their own freaking brains.
Right.
Then
right.
how are they
I see.
becoming
It's like
effective members of society
making them
in the
lazy.
long run?
I think it's just it's not. It's just curbing. It's just making a new ecosystem
Of dummies
of people
that can't think for themselves?
that have the same train thought as AI.
Hey guys, welcome to Girl, Did You Hear?
The ultimate bestie hangout. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kristen. Today is episode 40.
Yay! We did it.
Also, did you know on my Facebook memories this week, it was like a couple days ago, it was our 1 year of recording.
Have we made it to
We
a
have
year
made it
anniversary?
a year. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We have made it 1 year of podcasting.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for your
hanging
support.
on this long.
Yes. We do appreciate your support very much. So please make sure to hit that like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Woo-hoo. Today we have a fun episode, kind of a little all over the place.
It's an
I don't even
exhausting
know-
topic. There's
yeah.
so many facets to it. It's going to be hard to
To
stay
narrow
on
in.
track.
We'll try to do our best for you guys.
Good luck.
I had a thought randomly about like the iPad kid generation, right? Like that's a thing.
Right. So I looked it up because I was curious as to who is the iPad kid generation.
Right.
And the iPad kid generation is Gen Z.
So what time frame
it's-
is that?
Gen Z is the one underneath us, millennials.
Okay, what is their birth years?
Okay, so I also wrote this down.
I know you
guys,
did. That's
so
why I asked you.
didn't have to remember. So the generations that are most relevant to us would be the baby boomers, right? Because
Yes.
those are our parents in most situations and maybe some viewers. So that age gap is from 1946 to 1964. So those are your baby boomers.
Yep.
And then the generation below them is Gen X. Okay.
My hubby,
Those are the latchkey kids.
the latchkey.
Not the Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they called them? The
don't
kids
know.
who just like went home
Oh yeah, I think so.
with
Yeah,
nobody
I think
home.
so.
Yeah. And like they kind of raised themselves. That's the generation that they call it. And because their parents were working,
Yes.
right? And there was really nobody else to watch the kids because
Nope.
both parents had to work at that time because the economy was doing what it does best in making everybody poor. Sorry.
Oh, oops.
So Gen X is 1965 to 1980. So this is where the people we know start to come into play. So
Yeah.
millennials, and I just used it as a millennial. I didn't cut the little zennial. I didn't break it down.
Right, because there is like a
Millennials,
weird
like
gap.
an in-between, which we fall into.
A zennial?
Yeah. Because it's like,
It's so weird.
yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to lump us all in one group, which is 1981 to if I can read my handwriting, 1996.
Which is the millennials.
Which is the millennials. So now also keep in mind, this is just kind of the general age groups that I pulled off the internet. It could sway either way. It's kind of like astrological signs. Everybody's got a little bit different view or a little different date for each one, but this is just a general guideline. So the millennials are us, 81 to 96.
Yep.
So the generation below us is Gen Z.
Yes.
And they are 1997 to 2010.
Okay. So that could be
are
considered most of my kids.
Correct.
Minus Peyton. I think she was born in 96. No.
So she's a cusp. She can be either way. Yeah. She's probably considered a Gen Z.
Yeah, probably. But it's crazy though, because like even in the range of my daughters, I can see differences in them.
Right.
I mean, obviously with age gaps.
Yeah, there's big age gaps between, because you have what?
From 17 to 25.
Yeah.
And then there's like 2 in the middle there.
Right.
But like 17 and 25 is a pretty big age gap.
Because I was trying to figure out like who's parenting who. So like the baby boomers are parenting the millennials, right?
Yes.
Are the parents to the millennials, the baby boomers and Gen X. So millennials right now are making generation alpha and beta.
Yeah.
Which are the generations below Gen Z. Gen Z, it goes Gen Z and then Gen Alpha, which is 2011 to 2025. So Gen Alpha ends at the end of this year.
So
and then the new generation starts
would be
Generation Beta, which is 2026 to 2040.
My grandbabies are Generation Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird. Beta and Alpha reminds me of a freaking fraternity.
Yeah. And I would hate to be, because like the general connotation with the word beta, I would hate to be that generation.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
So,
but like, so obviously we know, social media is a huge thing.
Yeah.
In the world today, as we all know. People love it. People hate it. People have many mixed opinions about it, right? And I think that also falls in line with like the whole like iPad generation, like a lot of, we see a lot of people our age, that have kids, people that are younger than us that have kids, and all you see is their kids out in public like this on their screens, on their iPads in restaurants or wherever. That's just like part of them. And a lot of these kids are, I'm going to classify from what I've seen, like on social media, of other people complaining or voicing their opinions about this generation, the iPad kid generation. I want to say like ages 10 below is probably like what I see most people complain about.
Right.
Which would probably lump them in the Gen
Z to Alpha.
Yeah.
But you realize like we are, us and Gen X, but mainly us are the generation that made iPad kids.
I know.
Like we're the reason why iPad kids exist.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I'm a little iPad kid myself.
Yeah. We all are to an extent.
I am addicted to that thing. And like the one thing that makes me break apart the two, like when we had the technology to have iPads and cameras and internet that was something your mom could have a phone conversation with her best friend and you could be on the internet at the same time.
That was like an upgrade
once
to life.
We've gotten all the technologies in place, like we had to go out as kids to go see our friends.
Yes.
We had to exist socially in order to see things, view things. Like if you wanted to go to your aunt's wedding, you had to actually physically show up to your aunt's wedding.
Correct.
You couldn't just sit in your home and have it streamed to you.
Right. Or you couldn't see pictures right away.
So that's kind of one of the things that like I account for this generation is a lot of like their social environment is based out of that screen. Like you see them talking to their friends, all the internet games that have created their own little communities and things for people to exist in. Like we created a space for people just to be to
in
where
front of the screens.
When exactly. To where we didn't have that luxury. We didn't have a screen. But like we were talking about a little earlier, what was the iPad for us?
Well, like what made me think of this? Well, I don't really know how I thought of this. Well, I was seeing a lot of videos about like people complaining or like whatever, you know. And then I was like, what was the equivalent to that when we were growing up? Like for me, it was TV and video games, you know, and it was always don't sit too close in front of the TV.
It'll
Don't
rot your
watch
brain.
or don't watch too much TV.
Right.
Don't sit too close because it's going to hurt your eyes and it's going to rot your brain if you watch too much.
Right. And don't
You
play
need to-
video games because then that's going to make you
Also
violent.
going to rot your brain and make you violent.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you need to have restrictions.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't allowed to just sit and watch TV the whole day when I was a little kid.
No, me either.
And I wasn't allowed to play video games just whenever I wanted to.
Mm-mm.
Like I had to have, could only play for like an hour at a time, maybe. And my mom would be like, okay, that's enough for right now. And she'd shut it down.
Same.
And she'd tell me to go outside.
Go find something else to do.
Yeah, go play with something else. I didn't have to go outside, but like go do something else that is going to, you know.
Spark some creativity.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it's crazy because I think like, okay, with the kids growing up with the iPads, right? Like in a way, I kind of feel like it takes away from being able to learn like social cues and just like interactions and like how to interact with humans.
Mhm.
I think it creates the environment that they don't have to leave, obviously, because you can communicate through online, you know,
Yeah.
through the fucking
Yeah,
device.
you just video
you
chat.
know?
Yeah.
And which is great. Like I love that we have the ability to do that. But with young kids and, you know, their minds being shaped by what's being consumed into them, how do we think that that's going to affect them like later on in life in comparison to like our generation where, you know, we didn't have screen time at younger ages, but we had it when we were older?
I don't know. I don't think that, I mean.
Do you think there's going to be an effect on them, like as how they contribute to society or their creativity, a lack of, like, do you think it's going to inhibit them in any way?
No. I
You don't
mean,
think so?
Because you think about all of the things that just even AI and all of that stuff has given us, like the ability to create songs with just the thought bubble and the ability to, I mean, you've seen AI art that does take some level of creativity and like
Well, yeah,
and
I mean, you can
piece
make
of an
beautiful art.
imagination with the use of a computer.
Yes, you can.
Right. So like,
I mean, people were doing that before iPads came out, like in Photoshop and stuff.
Right.
So like
So
graphic design,
I see
all of that.
that technology has
Yes.
given us that creative avenue. So I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just reshaping how we interact in our ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the ability to talk to anybody anywhere across the world at any given time and not have to make like an international phone call and, you know, the instant access to all this information that we have has given us boundless sources of information, creativity points. Like you can thought process with people so much better now than we could when, I mean, think of a Zoom meeting. You can have people
Do you think
all
though
over the
that
United
like,
States in one place.
do you think that, because I see a lot of comparisons to, you know, don't give your kids too much screen time because, you know, it can be addicting. And I've seen like videos of like kids like throwing massive meltdown tantrums, like you wouldn't believe over their mom taking away their iPad.
Well, I remember
know,
throwing massive
and-
meltdown tantrums when my mom took away my favorite toy too.
Yes, I agree that the creative aspect is there and the opportunity for these kids to learn those types of things and maybe be open to that earlier on, I think is really cool. I support that
I mean, because
aspect
think of all
of
the
it.
things that YouTube has taught you.
Yeah, totally. And I agree with that. But like at the same time, I think it goes back to like everything in moderation.
Right.
To me.
But
You know, and it at the end of the day, obviously it kind of boils down to your household and how much you choose to
like,
allow your kids to have.
well, and like, what
screen
are they
time and so
doing
forth.
in screen time? Are they
Right.
being productive? Are they playing like
Or are they
learning
just
games?
doom
Or are
scrolling?
they just, I mean, are you allocating time for like learning on the pad versus
Right.
like watching
Free
YouTube
time.
videos? Or like, are you using the iPad to make something? Like,
Right.
are you are you using this tool in your house effectively?
Right. And
because the iPad generation is busted up a lot because of the iPad, right? So the iPad was their babysitter. The iPad is what raised them.
Yeah.
To where like our generation, it's the TV. The TV is what raised us. Our parents just plopped us down in front of it and that was our babysitter. Well, the iPad has turned into the babysitter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you could pacify any child with a screen and a cartoon of their choosing. Like, I'm pretty pacified if you pop on Bluey at any given moment. I'm like,
right. You're like, I'm chilling.
I love that show.
I'll jam out to some Mickey Mouse Club, you know?
Yeah.
We always have that stuff playing in our house.
Right,
so.
right.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of on the fence because like, yes, I think obviously too much of something can be bad for anybody. I do think that obviously kids' brains are they're little sponges, so they're soaking in everything. So I think, you know, as a parent myself, I have always encouraged, and when the girls were younger, we did monitor, and you know, they had limitations.
Well, yeah, right. You kind of have to because
they had
boundless
screen time limitations, you know, for certain apps and stuff like that. And like, if parents don't know about it, like on any Apple product, like you can go in and you can set up like screen time limits. Yeah. Like for each particular app.
Especially now, but you realize that wasn't a thing until just recently. Screen time wasn't an involvement in any of our phones until like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's probably like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean that wasn't even relevant until just recently.
Yeah.
So now we're like, oh, maybe sitting in front of the TV is rotting our brains.
I mean, like I just find myself even too like trying to like doom scroll less.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tried setting up screen time for myself to see if I could like discipline, but I have too much free will, and I'm like, bypass.
You're like, flip. Yeah. I'm just gonna turn that off.
I'm like, what the did I do this to myself for?
When I worked in corporate world at Subaru, I actually had like a do not disturb like screen time like thing for like 10 p.m. on my phone. So I like forced myself to like put my phone, and for a long time actually, I didn't even have my phone in our bedroom. I would leave it in the kitchen.
Just charging in the kitchen.
Yep. I would, and like if I was out there, you know, my screen time hit or whatever, I would, you know, I'm like, all right, just plug it in, and then I would just lay in bed and watch TV until I fell asleep.
Disciplined human.
I was. Now
you're like now.
It's all out the window now.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, but like, you know, the first thing that we do when we wake up is we reach for our phones. Most people.
Yeah. I try. The first thing I do when I wake up,
I mean, either to look at the time, like, to turn your alarm off. I try and shut
the alarm off, right? But so that's just using your tool.
Yeah.
But the time that we start to waste is like when we're in the bathroom and then we start the process, right? Or we're sitting down with whatever step is first. You know, that's when we click into either the socials. The first thing I wake up and I try and clear all the red bubbles. That's priority number one.
She's like, get rid of all the red.
Get rid of all the red. Like I wake up and I see red and I'm like, why?
Get away.
You guys know I am old and I go to sleep at like 8.
She does, you
it's
guys.
It's like one of those things where if you contact me at 10:15 at night, you're getting a response from me at 5:45 in the morning.
Accurate.
Sorry.
I think that happened today, actually.
Oh, yeah, that did. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and buy the chairs at like 6:30 a.m. I'm like, my bad. But it's bizarre to me because I catch myself doing the same thing. Or like at work, if I get bored or frustrated with something, the first thing I do is I turn to the idiot box.
Right.
And I just start walking my thumb because I need something else to
do. Or
like if I'm bored, it's the first outlet I do to solve my boredom. And it's not, I need to go back to parenting myself and be like, go find something creative to do.
I know, for real. And like, I do that sometimes. You know, like if I'm in like a editing hole, like I often will not look at my phone. Like I'll put it out of my line of sight.
Right.
So I can't like see if it like flashes, you know? Or like when I was doing yard work last weekend, I kind of just had like my music on, but I didn't have like my sound. I never have my sound on my
like
phone.
so your notifications didn't distract.
But I just like left it over there, and like when I took a break, I would maybe peek at it. But if it wasn't important, I just like left it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But also it's such a difficult thing because we do this podcast, first of all, and, you know, we put this out there. We also have to be.
I need people to
we
be
have to
addicted to their
be
screens.
on
Right? I need
socials.
people to be
Yes.
watching this. I want them to be consuming
Yes, and we do.
experience.
Yes, we
you
want
know?
them to doom scroll all of our shorts and binge watch our episodes and
share our
anybody
TikToks
else's content, you know?
Yes.
And
Because that's how it works.
yes, it is how it works. And it's like
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
like you really are.
Yeah.
Like I guess it's all just about really trying to find the balance, right? But like when you are a creator or a business owner or an entrepreneur of any kind, like you rely a lot on social media
Yeah.
for your business, because that is also like, that is your word of mouth.
That's your advertisement.
That is your advertisement. That is your word of mouth. That is how things circulate. Like my photography business, 100% of that comes from word of mouth mostly, but all of it is through social media.
Right. That's how you got that customer in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just circles around from there. And it's like, I don't know, it's crazy. Like I understand why parents are so like adamant about, you know, not giving your kids so much screen time and, you know, doing the creative things. But at the same time, like you said, I think that it depends on what it is that they're doing.
Right.
Like, are they strictly just on the iPads doing whatever the hell they
Just
want?
watching YouTube videos or whatever.
Yeah. And just, you know, not doing anything that's activating their brain.
Right.
Like, that's a problem. That is the problem to me.
Or are they on YouTube learning how to make slime?
Right.
You know?
And then they're, you know, making the freaking slime. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. It's weird.
Tough.
It's tough.
I mean, because it's such a great resource. Because think about like the shared experience.
Yes.
Like the ability to open up this avenue of, I understand that you feel this way because I feel this way too. And I think back to like when we were growing up, and like I grew up in a pretty small town, like a little city. It's nothing to the extent of Denver.
Right.
I mean, Grand Junction is like one of the bigger cities in Colorado, kind of like next to Colorado Springs.
Right.
They're about the same size. So it wasn't like, I mean, we had a couple high schools in the area that I think there's like 4 or 5 now. So it wasn't tiny. I mean, I get it. There are smaller towns out there. Do not get me wrong. But it was still small enough to where if you were a little weird, you didn't know a lot of weirdos.
Right.
If you were different in a way, there was nobody you could really relate to. So you feel
connect with.
ostracized.
Right.
So, you know, you find people either with like disabilities or certain social situations and things like that. And you can find camaraderie. And I love the fact that that exists. And I love the fact that that's available to our children so that they don't feel so isolated in their human existence.
I do agree with that in that aspect. You just actually reminded me, I have a client, and she has 2 boys. One is autistic. One of them, I think, is I don't want to misspeak, but he might be autistic as well. But he also battled cancer like 2 different times, I think. Oof. And he just turned 18. But they are like homeschooled kids, but a lot of their interactions are online.
Right.
Like a lot of their friends are online. Because unfortunately with his cancer and stuff, like his immune system is just shot. He cannot really go out
in his own environment
often and be around his peers, unfortunately.
But he's able
to, you know,
see
have
them,
video chats, play
commune with
video
them.
games. Yes.
Yeah.
And like that to me, I think is like the positive in it. You know, but like with every technological thing, I think that there's always going to be a positive and a negative side to it.
I mean, think about how easy it was to, when COVID hit, to push everything to virtual learning.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It was a train wreck for a lot of people.
It was.
And it was not
enjoyable.
The smoothest switch, nor could it be, because it was the first time you've ever done anything like that. But the ability to do it is mind blowing.
Yes.
To hold a class with your students spread across your district, if you will, and to teach and have people in and learning, and like online school blows my mind. I love that it exists because like I get that the internet hit when we were growing up.
Right.
But I love that that's available.
Yeah.
I mean, and so it's like with the technology comes the good and the bad. It's like you really have to just make sure that what they're consuming is good. Just like your food.
Positive.
Right?
You know, a little bit of learning in there maybe. And, like with my kids and my grandbabies, so one of our daughters doesn't allow much screen time for her kids, and the other one does.
Right.
And it's interesting to like see
The difference.
Right. I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong or anything like that.
No. Because I just got done defending how this is a good resource for our children.
Like it just is what it is. Those are their parenting choices. And I'm not saying that there's a difference in the kid at all. I'm saying a difference in the parenting style and their reasons of why they choose.
It's just a different in the toolbox.
Yeah,
right?
what they're
like
choosing
they're
to
using
do.
these tools to where this parent is using these tools.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like from the grandma perspective,
the outside perspective,
it's interesting to see your parents, your kids
be parents,
right? And watch them.
I can only imagine
parent their kid,
right? Right, because you're like, I was not raised that way.
Well, yeah, like either I wasn't raised that way, or hell yeah,
right?
like one of the two, or like she got that from me, like type of thing. That. But yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. But kind of leading into the next thing we were talking about was like with AI and everything was ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
So
don't believe everything you read on the Google search, folks.
GPT is, a
resource.
It's a resource.
It's
like
tool. Wikipedia right now. You can't really trust it.
It's a tool and it's still learning, guys. So like everything that you ask it and whatever answer it tells you, it might not be 100% true.
Did you hear that when people are nice to AI, it is costing the AI creators more money because of the response that it has to give back to you? Like every time you interact with it, right, it consumes some sort of thing. So if you're saying please and thank you, it's also reciprocating please and thank you. So they're like, so to keep this more efficient, just ask it the effing question and be done.
Right.
Don't
you
be
don't
courteous.
have to be all.
But I like to be nice.
You and Amber. You and
like,
Amber.
I will not say thank you, Siri, to Siri or whatever. I try to be polite because when those things eventually take over, they're like, don't get this white lady. She was nice to us. So
when you ask your ChatGPT something, how do you intro the conversation with it? Do you just ask the question, like whatever you're gonna ask it, or you're like, hey friend.
Or like, hi, buddy? No, I haven't gotten to the point of like greeting it.
Okay,
but I will say thank you.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not like, hello, friend. Can you find me an answer for 4 + 6? No,
hilarious.
It's more like 4 + 6, 10. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is very simple.
Yeah.
Mine is pretty simple and like straightforward as well. I will say thank you. Amber was over here one time and she was like reading her whole like conversation she had with ChatGPT. And it was hilarious, dude. She was asking it some questions about relationship things. Not that she was actually taking advice from ChatGPT,
right?
Guys,
well,
but
I mean, but it's
in a humoristic way. It was really funny.
It's interesting to see what it
the
would
way
say.
that she speaks to hers is very like friendly and like
is
hey,
just
girl.
talking to a person.
Yes, exactly, like talking to me.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I love that she does that. It's hilarious because her robot responds in the same way, like, hey bestie, blah 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 blah.
Well, see, and I mean, and that's the programming, right? Because that's what we want.
That's
if we're giving that input, then it's going to give us a similar input back.
Yes.
I mean, that's programming.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I thought it was funny that they're like, you're costing us money by being polite.
That's funny. I didn't know that people were complaining about that. You were telling me about something else though too with ChatGPT, weren't you? Oh, no, it was Trevor.
Yeah, about the lawyers.
The lawyers. Yeah.
How
there was a lawyer case and they got it was the first court case that ChatGPT
was involved.
And it was because the lawyers were using ChatGPT to write motions for the court and they were submitted to the judge. And the ChatGPT was referencing court cases in the like documents, but the court cases that they were referencing were not real cases.
Right.
So like if anyone knows how you write a motion, like sometimes you kind of have to like reference, like you're writing a motion.
This case,
like in bail bonds.
A versus B.
Yes.
When and this is similar to that situation, so it should be judged as such.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they got it's like a big thing now. And then I also saw there was a college student recently that goes to like some business school, and she found out that her teacher was using ChatGPT. And she got really upset, and she was like telling a couple of classmates about it, I guess. And she's like demanding tuition money
Reimbursement.
Yeah, for that particular class, because in the colleges they tell you and like drill into your head like you can't use any AI, you can't use
But they
anything.
do. But
you
they
can't
do.
Use,
It doesn't matter.
They tell
They're
you
just
can't
like,
use any of that stuff.
I mean, that's the thing. It's
And she's like,
available. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, she's like, if we can't use it, why is he using it? And blah, 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 you know, and like made a whole thing about it. And he was like using it for like a lesson plan. And I guess other teachers have like come forward and said that they've
do that as well.
also have
'Cause it's a
used
tool.
that to help create lesson plans and stuff, which I don't really see an issue with that. I don't see an issue with the teachers using it for a lesson plan or
But
to help them create.
Here's
the
the
plan.
caveat to that is that it can be abused. Like you said,
Always.
it's wrong. Sometimes, like, it's not giving you all the information to where it can have false information.
Yes.
So if you're building lesson plans off of bad math, then that's your fault.
Yes.
So
you like you have to be giving the proper information.
It needs to be used in, like you said, in moderation, or at least smartly.
Well,
like,
at least
check your facts.
I was just gonna
bro.
say that. Yeah, like
Like-
at least reread or do something.
Do a little more research on your topic.
like double check the robot. Just
Right.
because it's there doesn't mean that it's giving you factual information.
I mean,
just
we were
right
taught
away.
as kids before the internet. This feels so bad, but like you had to have resources. Like in a lot of
Yeah.
your papers, you had to state where you got your information from.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, we were told not to believe everything you see on TV.
Yes.
Because the narrative.
Yes.
Right? Don't believe everything you read. Like,
Yes.
AKA the newspapers or magazines, because of the narrative.
Narrative.
And so, like, now it's don't believe everything ChatGPT tells you.
Right. Or
Because
don't believe anything you see on
the internet.
the internet.
Oh, because of deep fakes, because
Yeah.
of AI. And it's
AI.
all just,
Dude, I saw a video this
So
morning.
wild.
This is off topic real quick, but not off topic, but on topic.
Mhm.
It was like a Diddy, you know, P. Diddy's trials right now.
Mhm.
And so it was supposedly like a leaked phone call, jail phone call between Diddy and I want to say it was Kanye or I don't know.
it's some other.
I don't know
person
who the
of
other
value.
person was,
Right.
actually. I don't think the video gave that information, but it was like saying all this crazy stuff. And I was like, there's no way this is real.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way. And of course, I like went straight to the comments, and then like everyone is like,
fake.
fake,
fake, fake,
and
fake.
then everyone's like, oh my god. And then but then there's people in there trying to like
yeah.
defend it and like
It's like, this
believing
is
it, and I'm
real.
like, oh my gosh, you guys are so stupid. But
I think we're growing. I mean, I get it. Like, the kids are the ones that are telling the adults, hey, don't look at that photo. That's an AI photo. Like, that
Right.
photo's not real, sort of thing. So they're able to point it out, and we're
Yeah.
kind of like lazy to
we're
see
like,
it.
is it or is it
I mean,
not?"
it just
Like,
goes
we
back
still
to
have
that whole
question
like
it.
geometric mug thing that we talked about a couple episodes back, where you saw this really pretty picture of this beautifully faceted geode
Right.
mug, and in real life you get this resin mess.
You're like, what is this
Well,
blob?
that looked nothing like the picture. False advertisement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But do you think that, like, when I was in college, for
Mhm.
example, like, obviously, like, they were very against plagiarism, and
Well, yeah,
you
they're
know,
like, don't cut and paste from Wikipedia,
yeah,
you dumb hoe.
obviously,
Yeah.
like, if you're that stupid to like copy and paste, like, and you can't change things around a little bit,
Mhm.
probably should go back to English class.
You should try harder.
Maybe not go to school for what you're going to school for now.
Right.
But do you like, what is your thoughts on ChatGPT in school? Like, do you think it's okay for students to use it?
I do. I think it's a tool that should be used by everyone because it's available.
Right.
I mean, it gives us, it's in our environment. It's in everything. So trying to like prevent people from using it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, I know that they're starting to put like watermarks and stuff in it, like digital watermarks, if you will, so that it flags
Right.
as artificial material. Which is great. I mean, I guess it's like an ingredients list. Like, this is
Yeah.
40% AI and 60% human.
Original,
Yeah. So I begin to wonder how, but like it's the same resource we had as kids. Like when the internet was available, you had to be picky and choosy as to what you actually read and used as your resource information because
right. And then we would be like at the book verifying in the
Right.
book what we read on the internet.
Right.
To make sure it actually
Like
matched.
the information jived. And I mean, and I think that responsibility is still in play.
Yeah.
Like, especially since it's so new still. Like, I appreciate that the technology exists, but it's still in its baby stages.
So much.
So, like, when I Google something and Google AI comes up with the first response of, well, this is what
The answer,
most of the internet says, I have a hard time trusting it because Google's pulling from the top sites, and a lot of those top sites are paid.
Mm-hmm.
So Google's pulling from information that's being paid to put up there. Like, so the information they're getting could be absolutely wrong or slanted or agendicized or whatever topic you're looking at. Like, it's a slippery medium. You have to be smart. I mean, I get it. It can make us a little lazy because it is so smart.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to be able to use the sharp knife and not cut yourself.
Right. I feel so my thoughts are also kind of on the fence. Like, it just depends on how it's used, right? Like, initially I kind of think that it takes away from people's ability to think for themselves if they're always going to that for answers, whatever kind of answers they're seeking. Whether it's
I see. And so then they only just use the ChatGPT
whether
answer.
it's schoolwork, whether
or
it's
the AI
a freaking life question that you're asking it, whatever it is. But if for this reference, we'll say schoolwork.
Right.
Okay. So if they're doing their homework with it and they're just using it to get the answers, they're not using their brains.
Right.
Like, that to me is pointless, and that shouldn't be allowed per se, in my opinion. If they're using it to do research and then they're comparing that research with actual sourced information, then I think that would be okay.
And like,
you know what I mean?
as you say
but
that,
also,
I'm like, that seems whimsy. Like, we're
Why?
expecting a lot of people to hold the information that they're receiving it in a responsible manner to where they would test it and investigate and do the due diligence of making sure what they're putting out there is correct.
Yeah, but people
like,
won't do
it's
that.
more instant gratification. It's like, I didn't have to think really hard for this answer,
but
because it
like,
gave it to me.
To me, though, if people are constantly using ChatGPT for that, then they're not using their own freaking brains.
Right,
Then
right.
how are they
I see.
becoming
It's like
effective members of society
making them
in the
lazy.
long run?
I think it's just it's not. It's just curbing. It's just making a new ecosystem
Of dummies
of people
that can't think for themselves?
that have the same train thought as AI.
I don't like it.
No, but that's what makes you.
There's gonna be
what makes you different,
bro.
right?
There's gonna be there's gonna be freaking people just walking around the earth when we're like 70, and they're gonna be all just like zombified freaking humans just walking around existing with their ChatGPT and their iPads in front of them.
Right. Well, I mean, but like the questions that people are challenging AI with are impressive. Like,
They are.
and
I have not
I think it's
done anything like that.
I think it's opening us up to. I mean, I know this sounds a little woo, but it's like it's opening up it's opening us up to broader perspectives, wider information, kind of a more an AI view of the question we're asking. Because it's like, if I were to ask you, hey, Kristen, I'm feeling a little overweight. What do you suggest I do in order to lose these pounds? You're like, well, Jess, I love and I care about you. Thank you for asking me this question. I suggest you go on a diet, stop eating sugar, maybe work out a few more times a week than you normally do, blah, 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 blah. Great. Love that for us. Glad I got to have that awkward conversation. Now I don't have to talk to you about it. I can just be like, hey, Chet. Hey, buddy. AI guy. I'm feeling a little heavy. What are some suggestions you have to make me skinnier? And then it's going to give me
A whole breakdown.
a whole new perspective on, or a different perspective.
Or it can give you a workout routine
yes,
or
like,
whatever.
The fact that we're using it to like, hey, AI, I have these ingredients in my fridge. What can I make for dinner? Like, it's a cool resource.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I love the fact
like
that it
that
exists
type of stuff
because-
is fun.
No,
like, is cool.
but that's taking away my originality.
It
I
is,
should be
it
able to
is.
come up with the recipes with the ingredients in my fridge on my own. But I'm not. I'm going to this awesome little tool to do the thinking for me.
So then
does that make me-
Where else does our thinking go then? If we're not using it for those things, it's got to go elsewhere. Where's it going to go?
Where's my thinking?
It's going to go to other
million
things.
and other 10 things that I'm thinking about at that time.
True,
Like
which is
that
why we
one
can't-
frog that I squashed when I was 7. It's making me feel bad about that. It's also making me think about the tasks and duties that I have to do tomorrow.
Yep.
And it's also making me think about, that stupid thing that I have to get in the mail before that deadline, da-da-da-da-da. But I'm not having to think about what I'm doing with rotoni, red sauce, and sausage.
Right.
I mean, I get it. That one's a little easy, but,
Yeah. I don't know.
It's so
It's
like
crazy.
if you use it for that stuff, does that make you lazy? Does that make you
no, I
thoughtless?
don't. It's so hard. Like it's such a fine line.
I mean,
It's so hard because no, I don't think it's bad to use the tool for small tasks
because that's what
like
it's
that.
here for.
Yeah.
Man. It's here to help.
I think what would be beneficial to the younger generations with ChatGPT, specifically in AI, is that is something that's going to have to be like they should start teaching that in schools.
What?
Like they should teach kids how to use ChatGPT in an effective way that is going to benefit them and not just use it as a cheat.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But we're kind of like how they taught us how to use the internet to get the correct information instead of just any information.
Yes.
Right.
Or
Well-
like how to find information in the encyclopedias when we
Right.
had to look through those
Fair.
fuckers. You know what
so
I mean?
we're teaching them how to use the tool.
Right.
So
I
that
think
they can
teaching
also
them
learn how to
manipulate the tool.
Yeah.
Well, duh. I mean,
they're doing it now. So what?
adults are doing it now too
Yeah.
with AI. So the manipulation is going to be there
It's gonna happen
regardless,
regardless.
of whose hands
It's just
it's
it
in.
goes right back to how do you handle your ecosystem?
Yes. Like what do you do?
Right.
Like how do you play your part in this simulation?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
That is fair.
Like ultimately it comes down to each individual person,
Yeah.
you know? But I don't know, man.
It's tough.
It's
It's a
tough.
choice.
It
Really,
is
it is a choice.
But I do really feel like if schools, instead of telling kids like, no, you can't use that, how about let's show them how to use it
responsibly.
properly and
Yeah.
responsibly
Absolutely.
and use it to their benefit.
Yeah, I don't think we should shame them from it or deter them from it at
Right.
all. I think we should be like, all right, here's this tool.
Yes.
This is how I need you to use it. And like the fun part is like, will it ever challenge us to think on our own? Like,
I would hope so.
Will it finally get to the point of like, what do you think about this sort of
Right.
thing? But I doubt. I
don't
highly
think
doubt.
so.
Yeah,
don't know.
that's being optimistic.
Anyways, what do you guys think about this?
Please tell us.
Please comment below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Woo woo. If you haven't already, make sure you turn on the notifications for our channel because we do a premiere every week.
Thursday.
Every Thursday, 7 p.m. We're in the chat, chatting away with everybody.
About not BS.
So come hang out. Don't be scared. Come hang out on the Ultimate Bestie Hangout. I don't know why I was doing that.
it's what makes it the ultimate best
I don't know
hangout.
why this is necessary.
I'll do it with you so it's not weird.
Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.